Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Nice 21-point range in the S&Ps this morning, Dennis.
Yeah, we've had a pretty good movement here overnight, Joel. Obviously, most of the movement again overnight. Some of these European banks trading a little bit weak. You're seeing some relative weakness in your U.S. financials. I'm looking over at Citigroup, trading down 60 cents. J.P. Morgan trading down 54 cents. So it looks like it's a little bit financial basis sell-off because some of your other stocks, believe it or not, are actually trading flat or just slightly down. So looks to be more financial-based sell-off here this morning, Joel.
Okay, Globex high, 1254.75, just below the daily pivot. If that holds as the high of the day, we have a downside target of 1224.75, which would be a tick away from Thursday's intraday low. Globex low currently stands at 1234. That's one tick above Friday's low. If that holds as the low of the day, we have an upside target of 1274.50. In order to get this market turned around, start heading north, we need to clear the 1244 level. Moving on to the Big Ten, Dennis. Apple's still taking it on the chin. Couldn't even hold Friday's close for half a second. Broke down below that 380 level. Dennis, below this 387.20 here, which was Monday's low. Look out below, Dennis. I don't see much under that.
Which one? 378.20. I think you transposed it when you said. So I agree, Joel. I think, the stock is still in sell-off mode here. Rallies keep getting met with sellers. So, I'm sitting on my hands as a buyer here. I still like that 360 level for major support, but that's a ways away from here. So, I'm still a seller of rallies and not a buyer of dips on this one.
Okay, we're going to have to define the dip for our traders here. They say it on the CNBC, buy the dip. So someone has to identify the dip, and that will be us. Moving on to ExxonMobil, couldn't quite test that 80 level. Couldn't even hold Monday's close for very long. Broke down with a close of 78.96. Treading right around Monday's low here, 78.39. So let's use that as a swing number. Coming on the downside, little support at 77.64, but the 77.03 Wednesday's low looks like it may come into play today.
That $80 here, Joel, is huge up there still. We talked about that yesterday. Obviously didn't quite get high enough, but maybe if you were aggressive, you might have got short that high around 79, 75, but 80's got some big size up there. So there's major sellers up here in the high 79s if the stock was to turn around. If the stock continues its sell-off, I think you will find some support in that 77 area.
Okay, moving on to IBM. All you Warren Buffett mules got ran over yesterday. Opened real close to the high of the day. Couldn't quite test the all-time high. Let's just call it the Warren Buffett high at 189.84. Came back down, low 186.85. Currently trading below that level, so we will use that as resistance all the way up to the close. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, I don't see a whole heck of a lot here until 185.14, which was Friday's low.
Yeah, it was a good call yesterday on your part, that IBM, Joel, with the Warren Buffett, sell the Warren Buffett rally. That's exactly what happened. Interesting enough, got up into the high 189s because he got a huge seller up there at 190, so you probably got the high-frequency guys lean on that seller. Some of your more aggressive traders may be leaning on the high-frequency guys, so that's why it tops out in the high 189s. And selling back off, you look at this, there's a double top up there, kicking around that 190 area from the last month and a half. So, if that is the case, sometimes those double tops can be bad signs. I'm not saying this thing's going to continue its sell-off down, but I would be cautious on the buy side on this stock.
Okay, Mr. Softy, trying to join the channeling stocks.com club. Couldn't quite get to Monday's high. Tested that nice round number at 27, so you got a double potential top there. Broke down. We are currently trading below yesterday's low, Dennis, so let's use that 26.65 as resistance up to the close. Get a short off there with relatively low risk. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, we're going to sniff that $26 level again.
It's possible. Keep in mind, Microsoft did have a dividend of 20 cents there,
Okay.
so when ex-dividend this morning, so the adjusted close is 26.56, not 26.76. Yeah, we've been saying, buy in the low 26s, sell in the high 26s, obviously, that would have worked yesterday with the high being of 27. We get back down to the low 26s, I'll probably try to nibble in that area again. Goes in the high 26s, I'm still a seller.
Okay, CVX, kind of quiet for that stock yesterday, Dennis. Not even a $2 range in the stock. Couldn't quite get to Friday's close. Monday's high 106.74 with a 106.17 close. Currently trading almost a stick below that. 105.38 Monday's lows. Let's use that as our swing number. Coming back on the downside, get ready to cover your shorts at this 103.50 level, which was Thursday's low and Wednesday's low just above that.
Stock the last couple of days has kind of traded in a tighter range here, Joel. It's kind of winding up to do something. I'm not going to try to guess which way this thing's going to go. Eventually, it's going to run one way or another. Obviously, if it starts to run up, you have huge resistance up there on the high 108s. There's 109. There's some size that we've talked about for a while. Maybe on the downside, you can talk about that like 103 area that you just mentioned. But, I'm cautious on the buy side. It gets in the high 108s. I'd be a seller, but anywhere else in here, I'm just sitting on my hands.
Okay, J&J showing a little bit of relative strength here, only down 9 cents in the session, the overnight session so far. Ran into some problems here at Friday's close, which was 65.25. Monday's high just above that, 65.49. The Friday and the weekly high. This stock is stuck, Dennis. It's stuck between 63.5 and 65.5. A breakdown, though, through 64, 62 to 65, that double bottom there in the market, you could get a free point there down to 63, 66.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. This stock is stuck here. A tight range again yesterday. It seems to keep finding sellers. There's some size up there at 65.5. Interesting enough, I see some size forming at 65, so I'm wondering if that's going to come into play today. Sellers in the high 64s, especially with us trading down 10 points, so keep that level in mind. But the real resistance is up there at 65.5, and 66 obviously is huge up there. So, this thing's going to struggle to get through. Once it starts getting the 65s, the mid 65s to upper 65s, it really thickens up. I don't know on the downside. I agree, if you get down there to, there's that little gap I see you're talking about there, down to between 64.5 and 64. So maybe, you could see that gap filled if we were to go into real sell-off mode. Maybe see some initial support at 64.
Okay, Procter & Gamble, a little bit weak on the day yesterday as well, making a high at 63.55. Interesting formation here, Dennis. You have four consecutive lows between 62.56 and 62.93. So take your pick there. I'd say you're really not out of the woods until you break below the 62.37, which was a 7-day low. So a lot of consolidation in Procter & Gamble in the 62.5 level. If in fact the market's weak, you get a nice move through there. Not much stopping Procter & Gamble until 61.63 to 78. Coming back on the downside or on the upside, we're not that far away from the close, so that should be your initial resistance.
I'm going to limit my comments on Procter & Gamble. I do have a trading position in that stock.
Okay, AT&T. Let's just play the recording from yesterday, Dennis. 29 to 29.5. Couldn't quite get there. 29.32. Friday's low match Monday's high. For how's that for old support, new resistance? Currently trading at 2 ticks below Monday's low, which was 29.05. We use that as a swing number. Below that, 28.80 is the weekly low. More importantly, 28.62 is the 10-day low. But looks like this stock is having a hard time breaking down through 29 or breaking above 29.5.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate both of those. That's the levels that I see there as well. The stock is really getting tight here too. These high dividend stocks, they do have lower betas, but man, it's really had a tight range here the last few trading sessions, AT&T. So yeah, I think, if it can, hold the 29 area, you might try a little bit of a long there. Obviously starts to cut through there. It could possibly open up, but there's major resistance up there at 29.5.
Okay, just going back to the Procter and Gamble and J&J. I mean, those stocks seem to have held up a little bit better. When we had that break in October, and then they kind of came out of the gate a little bit ahead. It should be interesting if the consolidation in these stocks and kind of the pullback will be a signal for the rest of the market. I kind of noticed they moved a little bit ahead in both instances. Moving on to General Electric, channelingstocks.com, 16 to 16.50. Back here flirting with that $16 level, 16.02 Monday's low. Currently giving that a test right now. Thursday's low at 15.97. But if this thing, you got to at least try buying 16, the first time here. But get it close below 16, Dennis. I think this stock is heading back toward the $15 area.
Yeah, I think, it's 16 is a key number for this stock. If that holds, if it does break there, it's gonna open up. So, if we can get down, start trading, below 15.90, 15.97, 15.96, I don't consider that a break. If it got, 10 cents to try to get 10 to 15 cents below the 16, then I would consider that a break. And definitely, then it maybe opens up and possibly get down to that 15 area over the next few sessions. But if the 16 holds, you still kind of got to be a buyer there. So, maybe you do try it the first time. Obviously we start getting down below 15.90, then you got to think about getting out of those longs, though.
Okay, Coca-Cola, opened lower, went lower, closed at 67.79, currently trading 20 cents below that. Let's use that as resistance. Below 67.42, which was Monday's low, things open up to that double bottom we had from last Wednesday and Thursday, 66.86 to 66.91.
This chart just looks interesting here. Looking at, just put a 1 month chart up there, and we've got multiple highs in the upper 68s. You go back to October 24th, and then late October we had 3 highs right up there, that 69 area, which we had talked about on the show a number of times. 69 is obviously huge for the stock. Then 68.70, 68.60, 68.55. Whenever this thing gets up into the upper 68s, you just got to be a seller on this chart, because that's just what everybody's been doing again and again and again. I don't see no reason why that's going to stop.
Okay, SPU's getting a slight recovery rally here, getting close to yesterday's low, which was 12.43.50, almost back to mid-range on the day. Apple's showing some relative strength. We're going to take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors in, and we'll be back with many of our market movers.